Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever, where today we're gonna be looking at a 1v1, and no, not just any 1v1, a Step-Stool ladder cast, because today we have two players playing the 1v1 ladder under 1,000 rating. Before we get into introducing them, we have to mention the map. It's an Orox's map gen map, and a quite nice one, I might add. Has a lot of little avenues. I really like the look of it. And of course, to point you in the direction of my Patreon and channel membership, there's a join button down below and a link to my Patreon in the description. Every little bit helps, and yeah, thank you all very much. And let's get into introducing our players. Starting in the top right, a red Seraphim, worst faction, but very nice color. Going first land, he is rocking the most northern position on this map, and his name is Valmaspa. I'm gonna call him Val. And then down to the southwest, we have the only other player in the game. He is a blue Seraphim, so it's a Seraphim v Seraphim mirror matchup on this map, and it's gonna be a action-packed one. His name is Skouby, and he has gone first land, and he has second land queued up. We'll look at the map really quick. 28,000 reclaim, which I think is a little bit too much for a map gen map, but that's kind of equaled out by the... It feels like there's a low number of mexes, but this is like a 15 by... It's like a 7.5 by 7.5, as you see the black area around here. This would be a 10 by 10, so it's slightly small. It's kind of a weird amount of map, if that makes sense. I don't... Wow. Yes, very nice commentary. Willow over here with, it's a very weird amount of map. You know, this map. There's a lot of map going on in this map. But, nonetheless, I think there's probably too much mass on this map. But, it's balanced, so we'll see how it goes on. The players on the ladder, one is about 600, the other nearing 900 rating. Skouby having the advantage rating wise, but of course these players could have very few games, and right now it does seem as though Valmaspa has the better opener as far as mass and energy generation is concerned. Overall getting over 100 more mass, and I'm sure a little bit more power, so overall just kind of having more eco so far. But of course this match has a while to go before we're seeing any kind of major developments economically. A lot of factories queued up for Val, not nearly as many being queued up for Skouby as of yet. More units pouring out of the base of Skouby. He did have a Selene come over here, didn't mention it because kind of irrelevant, as it sort of just died immediately, but or maybe this is the Selene from earlier, but overall more units earlier for Skouby at the moment, but there's going to be a lot of units flowing out of these bases once Val gets all of his factories online, assuming he can afford them. Speaking of affording things, let's look at these early ecos. Seems Val is, with the reclaim, having trouble spending all of his mass, and I would assume Skouby is in the same position. Both these players have more than enough mass. The question is, who uses it better? Who is going to abuse this massive amount of reclaim that's on the map? There's a bit of early fighting going on. A Selene gonna die to a Zooey, which is kind of funny, because Selene's a pretty quick unit. Shouldn't be dying to the most slow attack available at the T1 land phase. Over here, a bit of an altercation going down. I believe that Skouby is just getting the worst of all these trades, and maybe wants to consider getting a few more units under his belt before playing so aggressively. All of these rocks everywhere. I'm sure they will be scooped up in a matter of minutes, but it is a little bit weird to see so many big rocks kind of just everywhere. Like, whenever we do this, there's just big rocks across the map. This is like you could start a quarry business with how many rocks are over here, and I guess that's what these players are doing. We have Skouby. We have Skouby's limestone production over here, and Val working with some granite. Alrighty. So, we have all of these factories coming online. Is Val starting to have issues with mass? He is. He's built too many factories and possibly has too many upgrades going as far as mass extractors are concerned. And Skouby in a bit better of a situation. I think it's better to have too much mass than to be stalling mass horribly. But all of these factories pumping out units for Val means that he's gonna have a large force very quickly. He has a large force already down here on the southern side, threatening towards Skouby's base and forward expansions, and trying to get some map control. Over here on the northern side, he hasn't really sent as many units up here, but he just has a unit advantage in general. So even outnumbering Skouby over here. Skouby seemingly having some trouble with getting himself up to the plate, kind of just not really. He doesn't have a lot of production, and he's not ahead on eco as far as just like total mass generation. Or I mean, maybe he is slightly ahead on mass generation, but he's gonna start losing that as soon as units show up. So gonna have to keep an eye on this band down here to the south. One thing I will mention, a lot of Zooies mixed in over here. It's gonna be interesting to see what happens whenever a few tanks show up, because the Zooies are not gonna fare well against a force that's half the size but just tanks. Up here to the north, Val starting to move forward with his comm, going to be getting into these reclaim fields. The comm of Skouby sitting in the base and building the most volatile setup you can have for T1 power. Because who cares if the enemy builds a T1 bomber, right? If the enemy builds a T1 bomber, they deserved the win anyways, didn't they? But up to the north, Val walking forward with his comm and a bunch of units. There is a PD thrown up, but that's gonna last not incredibly long. And just in general, I mean, there's no real mass extractors on these wings, so you kind of just have to hold your main base. It's a very defensive map now that I think about it. You can kind of play very defensively and not be heavily punished after the reclaim phase of the game is over. But that phase is far from over, so I would like to see the units and the comm of Skouby start getting involved a little bit more on map pressure and map control, because Val just taking over the map and gonna be pushing over here to the north. Gonna be able to kill off a lot of units, kill off a couple mexes with the Zooies, but overall, the question is at what cost, because this does leave a lot of reclaim right here for the taking, and that could be a situation where Skouby is quite happy to send units, or send engineers to scoop up the reclaim. Go ahead and look at economies really quick. Over here on the eastern side, we have a new altercation starting up. 61 mass a second for Skouby, and Val at 55. And overall, the battle's kind of going in favor of Val, but Val also fighting on the opposite side of the map, which can be very risky. Skouby is going with the Step-Stool heroes strategy of, if I build point defense, it'll protect me, right? Instead of spending his mass on units, he's going to spend a lot of mass on point defense. And his opponent is already kind of spamming Zooies, so that's just kind of a mistake. It'd just be better to spend that same mass on a factory or multiple factories. But over here, Skouby does have an ace up his sleeve, and that ace is T2 tech. He has himself T2 power on the way, and Ilshiva's starting to pour out of his factories. I'm sure he has a couple factories going to be T2 support factories. He's getting to T2 land before his opponent. His opponent up to 3 air factories, which could be quite dangerous as Skouby has 0. Skouby still not, he's not acknowledging air exists yet. Let's see if he does whenever the enemy starts throwing bombers at him. Over here to the east, the Zooey train, gonna be able to kill off these point defense, even if they are poorly microed against the point defense. Just kind of have to right-click on the point defense and you solve the issue, but oh, that point defense gonna survive with 53 HP, and yeah, you know what? I don't think he needs to go back and kill it necessarily. I mean, if he has any Zooies in his force in a little bit, he'll be fine. Tech 2 finished up for Val, and yet again, what is with the line of T1 PD? Skouby really, really focused on stopping these T1 units instead of just building his own. The T2 PD for Val gonna go up right here and just gonna ruin everything for Skouby, because all of these point defense he's invested so much mass into. In fact, we can see how much mass is invested by looking. 750 mass, even, and if you want to include these, like 50 more mass, so 800 mass in T1 PD gonna be killed off by 528 mass of point defense from Val, because Val just built a better point defense for this kind of fire-based war kind of thing. Over here to the southeast, we have some point defense going up for Val, trying to defend against a wave of blue units coming out from Skouby. And Ilsheva doing a lot of heavy lifting for this force, and yet again, still at T2 before his opponent. His opponent about to have T2 finished up. And he's getting a lot of Ilshevas onto the board now. Let's go ahead and check the count. His opponent's about to finish T2, but he already has 9 Ilshevas on the field, spreading them out quite a bit. I'm curious as to the reasoning behind spreading them out. I'd like to focus them on one flank and just kind of crush that flank, but that's also me, and I don't play ladder, so don't take my advice like it's a godsend, honestly. It seems like it's much harder to deal with 10 Ilshevas in one spot than it is to deal with 2 Ilshevas spread out, with 2 Ilshevas at a time spread out across the map. And over here to the southeast, it seems as though Val is going to go with another aggressive push, but this one much more questionable than his earlier ones. All of these units coming in through the northern side towards the main base of Skouby, just going to be annihilated, honestly. It's just like, yeah, you brought a knife to a gunfight, and it wasn't even a gunfight. You brought a knife to a grenade fight at that point. Like, oh, well, I'll stab you. Well, I'll blow you the fuck up. That's kind of what's happening here, and that just leaves a juicy little mass field of about 2,000 here for Skouby, and that is, speaking of reclaim, Skouby kind of forgetting exists, and Val doing very well on it, but it doesn't seem to matter as total mass generated in favor of Skouby. He's gotten up a lot more teched up eco. Of course, losing these mass extractors up here to the north gonna hurt him a little bit, but he still has a lot of mass extractors to upgrade, and he can start producing Ilshevas on a massive scale. 21 Ilshevas, and his opponent sitting on, I don't even know if he has an Ilsheva out yet. He still hasn't built an Ilsheva, I don't believe. No, so yeah, the Ilsheva lead is going to be heavily in favor of Skouby. If Skouby can get some map control and maybe destroy some of these mexes and forward bases that have been built up by Val, it's going to really swing the game back into his favor, and he's just walking forward. Like, sure, you're going to lose a couple Ilshevas to the spam, but you could just walk forward on this. You can not particularly care. You can walk forward on these point defense here and not particularly care, because they're going to be pretty useless. I'm curious as to why he built a flak. He hasn't thrown a scout over Skouby's base in admittedly kind of a long time. So I guess maybe he's worried about an air incursion, but he hasn't seen a single air unit built by Skouby yet. So interesting call there, but who am I to judge? And Skouby skyrocketing up to almost 100 mass a second and getting up more factories for spamming. And is he just having trouble spending his eco? He still has a relatively balanced eco. I do like what I'm seeing, but my word, just seems like a ton of investment in factories. It just seems like there's no way he could afford it. But I guess as we zoom out and look at it a little bit more, he does have 15 T2 mexes, so being able to afford 10, 11 T2 factories building Ilshevas probably feasible. I mean, each factory uses, I don't know, some amount. Each factory uses like 9 to 10 mass a second. So yeah, I guess the math adds up there. He's probably done the math, but I'm not gonna do it because doing math is hard and I'm dumb. Over here, Val is going to build a shield. He's firebasing real kinda. I think this is a bit much. I think the T2 PD, I think the right call here would have been for the PD creep. But it's hard to deny that he's been getting some pretty good results out of all of this, and now he's starting to build up his Ilshava force. He's up to 8. But he should just have infinite scouting. He has scouts. He just needs to throw them over the opponent. You just kind of got to remember things you have and remember things that you need to do. A lot of being better at FAF is, as the duelist pointed out, just knowing what to do next. You don't necessarily even have to be fast as long as you know what you plan to do next and know the next few steps in your head and you have it planned out. You can get a lot more done in a lot shorter time. I'm not good at the game, but the duelist is slightly better than me at it, even though I like to give him shit for losing a 1v1 forever ago. It's the only 1v1 I've played against him. Alright, the Ilshava is beginning to walk forward, and it seems as though there's a lot of point defense, I think, being queued up by Val. That's not going to be useful, and I think once Val realizes just how much of a disadvantage he's at over here, he's going to have to respond. This is a huge Ilshava force just plowing its way forward and deciding, hey, your units, they're gonna die. Skouby being quite scared with his units. I don't think Skouby has good scouting either, but like, even with this quick glance and your radar coverage, you can tell you have more better units. You have your unit count is the same, but he has 5 Ilshavas, and you have just on this flank 34. Go fucking kill him. The fuck are you doing? This is Step-Stool ladder. I'm here to give advice. Well, my advice is just take a second, look at what you have, look at what he has, and determine if you have like 4 times, or no, not even that, you have like 10 times as many T2 units as him, and he just has a bunch of T1 spam, walk forward. You will always win the engagement, and you can just walk into his base. Keep going forward. Stop giving him time to build PD, damn it. But now that PD is being built, it's probably time to go forward. If he just had that killer instinct and immediately went forward, I think this could have been a huge victory on the eastern side. On the western side, he's doing fine. He's getting a lot of kills onto these on these units, but Skouby suffering from a huge amount of hesitation and scaredness, and Val kind of just suffering from not. He doesn't have a particularly great game plan from what I can see. His plan seems to be, oh, I had a bunch of T1 units and the game didn't end, and then he saw Ilshavas for Skouby and was like, that seems like a good idea. Skouby has a vague plan. He's just scared to enact any part of it, and Val has a I guess he maybe has a plan. Air would be my plan at this point. And you know what? Admittedly, Natha's coming onto the field. I'm an asshole. I should shut up. I'm caster cursing everything. Val does have a plan. Don't listen to me. I'm dumb. I'm the shittest caster there is. And don't you forget it. I'm gonna look at things from pretty picture angles and shut up for the rest of this cast, okay? Valplasma? It's not Valplasma, is it? It's Valmaspa. Valmaspa. It's Val is he's still firebasing quite hard over here. He's gonna be building a few artillery emplacements by the look of it, which is gonna be quite annoying to deal with for Skouby. He's gonna kind of just need to make his own. But overall, Ilshava is still pumping out of these factories. T3 land on the way for Skouby. We're 20 minutes in. And these players have accrued almost 100,000 mass each in total. And as far as reclaim goes, I know I like to preach reclaim, but Skouby kind of ignored it for half the game and then just caught up immediately. So what do I know, right? And that line of PD was apparently coming out from Skouby. Both of these players really big fans of T2 PD, and I guess I get it. You gain some territory, you want to use it. Val doing me proud and throwing scouts over his opponent's base and probably just now realizing, oh wait, he doesn't have an air factory. At least that's what I would be realizing looking over this, and I'd be, alright, it's time for T3 air or a Natha snipe. E3 air and snipe the shit out of him. I like in 1v1 I snipe. That's like just my only strategy in 1v1. Like if I don't win in the T1 phase and I don't die in the T1 phase, oh, it's snipe time, baby. I'm here like I'm here playing like Hitman, and every single mission I'm not really a surgeon's scalpel. I'm more of a demolition man's sledgehammer. If my T1 sledgehammer doesn't beat you, my T2 and T3 flying sledgehammer sure as hell will. Over here to the west, a bunch of mobile missile launchers kind of grouped up. He has a T2 artillery piece, but he's going for mass extractors and missing, because that horrible Seraphim accuracy. But he's broken the shield, he's seemingly breaking through, but on the west side, seems as though Val is going to be able to push forward. He has a lot of Ilshivas here. Most of the army for Skouby is over here on the eastern side. And he has over 100 Ilshis. He has 91 Ilshis. Val, how many Ilshis do you have? 52. Skouby, you are literally fighting you have 2 Ilshis for pretty much every one fucking Ilshi he has. Walk forward! Go fucking kill him! Oh, Valmaspa getting a huge offensive, taking so much ground, walking forward with the comm earlier, but deciding to fall back now. He has a tactical missile launcher that seems to have gotten some kind of value. I'm guessing it killed off something or other, but now there is tactical missile defense in place. The Ilshiva's gonna push in, but this is just fated to die. So many Ilshivas pouring out of the base of Skouby. He's only 82%. Is he in a stall? Because it seems like he's in a horrible mass stall, and Val is not. So Skouby, he's kind of throwing away his unit lead for what I would guess to be mass extractors, but his T3 mechs died. So, interesting. He's now behind economically, but ahead on units. Which is usually how things go. Like if a game is still even, one player is ahead on eco and behind on units, and vice versa. Okay, Val just completely he threw all of his units at the enemy. These players need to trade their opinions on how to use units. Val really happy to throw units at the enemy, and Skouby deathly afraid of it. But Val doesn't have the unit advantage, and Skouby does. So, you see what I'm saying? You just gotta stop being so afraid to throw your units at him, Skouby. And I know that this series it's lighthearted, and I know I'm not the best player ever, but I'm pretty good at determining what causes and what doesn't cause a player to lose. Why? Because I've watched hundreds of you lose hundreds of times. Yeah, I can see the telltale signs of what you did wrong. I'm just not good enough at the game to, while playing, think about it and do it myself. You gotta take a second, step back and look at the situation. And right now in this situation, I'm saying the map is dark and full of Val, and I need a radar. Preferably, like, at this point, your T3 land, get a T3 Pigeon and make Omni. Val is still building interceptors. For what purpose, I don't know, because he's still, as far as I can tell, Val has no idea. I mean, I guess he doesn't have an idea, but like, there's no even hint that Skouby recognizes that air units exist. Skouby he's boots on the ground gameplay is what Skouby, you remember when Call of Duty was like, boots on the ground gameplay? And you remember how they said that like 30,000 times when talking about Call of Duty World War II? And then they keep on talking about boots on the ground gameplay. But yeah, no, Skouby, he is a strong subscriber of boots being on ground, and he's gonna win or lose with his boots on the ground. They're nice boots too. Val getting insane value off of this T2 missile launcher. This tactical missile launcher has killed 50,000 mass, and it just killed another 500 mass. And the artillery has killed 4,000 mass, and Skouby has lost like a million mexes. This is just a painful situation for Skouby, but he's producing Authams now, which he has Authams in production while, yet again, Val is like not even really started with T3. Like, he's 50% done, but he's gonna just be behind, because the way Skouby's gonna do this is there's gonna be a bunch, all of his factories are going T3 except for like 2 or 3. 2 factories are still making Ilshivas, and the rest are going T3, because he can afford that with his 91 mass a second, I promise you. But over here on the eastern side, seems as though Val has gone for Nano and Gun on his comm to try and hold off the wave of Ilshivas. And in response to this, Skouby has decided that the Ilshivas are better used elsewhere and is going to send all of his Ilshivas to the west side. Also, surprisingly, doesn't have an upgrade on his comm. I'm surprised. I think at this point, there's very little to lose in going with the Seraphim Nano gun comm. You're not in the stage of the game where things are going to get horrid for you very quickly. Like, you're not going to get sniped as long as you have some anti-air. So, seems interesting to say the least. But, to each his own. That's a line of artillery that probably won't get as much done as he's hoping, but hey. I don't even think this line of artillery survives, and he can't afford it. Skouby currently at half of the mass generation of his opponent. Right now, Val, with how aggressive he's been, just needs to build up a force. Skouby's still sitting on a stupid number of Ilshivas. 84 Ilshivas versus Val's 41. And on top of that, Skouby also probably has a few Authams kicking around. 2 Authams. Skouby has a ton of units, and it seems as though he's finally tired of getting bullied by this forward fire base with its tactical missile launchers and artillery pieces, and has decided he's just gonna walk around the fire base on the western side. And to that, my question is, why not just go to the eastern side where you were earlier? Attack. But you know what? He's finally attacking, so bravo! Everybody give a round of applause in the comments to Skouby. He's gone from Courage the Cowardly Dog to Scooby-Doo the Cowardly Crime Fighter dog that talks. You know what? It's starting to make sense more. His name is Skouby. I don't know if it's in reference to Scooby-Doo, but if it is in reference to Scooby-Doo, then it works, because he's afraid. He's afraid to use his units. Even right now, he started a push. He started winning the fight. And then he like stuttered for a moment, and then he's like, am I winning? And now he's gonna go forward again. And he needs to just keep going forward. One thing I'm gonna say that I just noticed is I think the relief here is horrid for pathfinding. Oh, some Ilshis are gonna get stuck, aren't they? Oh my god, yeah, Ilshivas are about to get stuck, which is very unfortunate for Skouby. And Skouby over here, he has 56 Ilshivas remaining versus 31. So he still has an Ilshiva advantage, which is, I've said Ilshiva way too many times this cast. But now he has to walk through a choke point into a lot of enemy units, and the relief is kind of fighting against him, so this is kind of a bad fight, but it is kind of fun to watch, so we'll continue to watch the engagement happen. Seems as though Val is a bit scared and going to run away from this engagement. I think Val should just stay here. Keep your units basically right here in a line, and if Skouby walks forward without using formation command, maybe, you're going to have an advantage in a fight. You may not win it, but you're definitely going to take your pound of flesh for it. And Skouby still these artillery are just destroying his economy. He still pretty much has half the economy of his opponent. There's a bunch of T1 bombers over here on the eastern side killing off production. He needs a flak. Build a flak. You have a bunch of T2 factories. Have more than one of them build a flak, so that way if they kill it, it doesn't matter. Because they can zoom in and see what you're building. You can zoom in and be like, oh, that's a flak. If you have the APM and good enough player, you can definitely decide which factory you want to kill. But T1 bombers, a little bit later than I would have expected, but he's getting the T1 bombers involved, and that's going to be quite significant. Gun splash on the way, getting rid of T2. That's going to be one beefy comm if he ever gets any veterancy on it. Another fight occurring over here, and do we have Ilshevas stuck? I know we have Ilshevas stuck back here. As I said, pathfinding, not good. All of these, oh my word, are all of these stuck? All of them are stuck, aren't they? Oh my word, that's horrible. Huge land battle though. Very cinematic to look at. These units are going to push forward. The assault siege, the siege tank in the front, the Otham, going to take a lot of fire to take down, but seems as though Skouby is just tired of his units not doing things. He's invested so much in Ilshevas, so he's going to push forward and fight. And it does seem as though it's going to go pretty well for him. I think he'll be able to break the base as long as he just doesn't run out of Ilshis. But oh no, some Othams show up. The Otham's going to be focused down by Skouby, and the T3 shield generator not going to help out very much either with the T3 mobile shield generator not going to help out, but more Ilshevas come in from the side. This massive assault going very well for Skouby, and he's going to finally put down this fire base, which has caused him so much grief. It's going to take him a while, and he's going to lose more units to all the PD here, but I believe that this is the end of this. There's some T1 bombers coming in to add support for Val, and Val's going to be pushed off of this position. Now, here's a huge point of contention now created on this map. Right here, there's 20,000 reclaim. Whoever gets this wins, and right now, Skouby is already in a good position because he has flak now set up. He's going to have mobile flak in the area relatively soon, I would assume. And he has engineers already on the way. You need engineers out here reclaiming. It seems as though Val has realized that. He's sending at least one engineer, and I assume it's on... Nope, that's just a patrol route he set up probably a long time ago. But there's a lot of Othams now showing up for Val. How many Othams does he have? He has 13. Skouby, on the other hand, sitting on 14. And I guess I could do this for more fair. 14 versus 12. So Skouby has more, but he's about to walk Othams in single file against a bunch of enemy Othams. It doesn't go well for you when you do that. But Skouby wants to get a hold of this mass field. I think he still probably has engineers being produced somewhere simply for the purpose of getting those mass fields, and now he has a bunch of artillery set up. Is this artillery in range of all those units? It is, so he does have a bit of a hold on the mass field. He's going to make it hard for his opponent to reclaim over there with all of these artillery set up. But is it enough? And the question is, the question for Valplasma is, or Valmaspa, wow, I just cannot get it right, can I? Val is, he invested a ton of stuff over here and he got a lot of damage done. But if he cannot deny reclaim over here, it really comes down to the eternal caster question of at what cost? Because that's a lot of reclaim, and he already let his opponent stabilize. So it's going to start getting dangerous. Over here on the eastern side, Splash on the way for Val, and I'm sure that's eating up a lot of his economy. Nope, it's not. His economy doesn't even care. Skouby overflowing a lot. Starting experimental, man. What's wrong with you? Are you having power issues? Is that why you're overflowing? That's why he's overflowing. He can't afford to spend the mass he has. E3 power, my dude. You need it. It's one of the first things you should build with your first T3 engineer, is that sweet, sweet, succulent T3 power. As we sitting a lull. We have some Volthus sitting around over here, and we have a lot of T1 bombers just constantly on the way. T3 queued up. Otham's being built. Seems as though he's getting a lot of his factories to T3. I'm surprised neither of these players has opted to reclaim some of their factories. I would have definitely reclaimed some of these and gotten more mass storage. It's more efficient, in case you didn't know, to have the mass storage. Also, reclaiming these T1 Pigeons once you have T2 power helps you out a little bit. And also stops you from having this in your base. Ugh. Looks nasty. And yeah, players kind of taking a lull right now. Sniper bots being employed by Val over here on the northern side. He's going for more of a mix of units, and Skouby has decided that Othams are love and Othams are life. Even kind of, he even has Ilsheva production still, but Othams, man. It's what he likes. It's what he enjoys. And he even has some Ilshevas queued up to be made. I don't get this. Is this just... Does Skouby not know how repeat works? If you press Z, it's on repeat. You don't have to constantly throw orders to build more. Okay. Interesting. Val under a huge threat. I think Skouby might be able to kill Val right now if he just spreads out his units and tells them all to attack Val. Skouby having a huge assault on the eastern side with his Othams. Val with the splash nanocom is getting a ton of veterancy right now, and that's really helping him out with surviving. He just got to 5 ranks of vet and 250 health a second, so now it might be a bit more difficult, but that looked like a very dicey situation for Val as Skouby continues to push forward over here on the eastern side. Gonna be able to get into the production. Is he gonna be able to kill off any of these production facilities? That's the question. Does not seem as though that's the case, but he does kill off some of these engineers assisting the primary HQ. And on the western side, Val doing the same, kind of just taking the opposite path to get to the same conclusion. He's going to be getting into the base of Skouby. Does Skouby have enough? Skouby does not have that beefy comm to throw in between his base and the enemy units, but it does seem as though he has a few more point defense set up, and he does have a few production facilities with Othams rolling off the line at any given time, so that in combination with these artillery, which are constantly firing on this force, seems as though this is going to be cleaned up without causing any major damage. But both players dropping a ton of mass right outside their opponent's base. You could argue that the mass fields are irrelevant since neither player seems particularly focused on reclaim, but Skouby does have 56,000, so maybe Skouby having trouble maintaining these 4 mass extractors, but it seems as though Val now having trouble maintaining them as well. And the map has been split down this central area, and these 4 mass extractors for each side is going to be the no-go zone. That's the no man's land. Not to be confused with Nomad's Land, which is arguably a much more fun place to be. Arguably not. Depends on who you simp for. And as we calm down a little bit, it's time to look at the ever so important economies of these players. 348 mass a second. At this point, it is Yathoda time. I was about to say, it's experimentals for shiggles. Because at this point, you can more than afford it. An experimental chicken, yes, it's a very experimental chicken. Instead of having white meat, it has red meat. On the way for Val, Skouby, on the other hand, I don't know if he's in the... Nope, he's also going for a chicken. And I don't think he scouted the opposing chicken, because he can't really scout. Val may have scouted the chicken, but the world will never know, because I wasn't looking at his vision at that given time. Wow, does Val have the bug? Okay, he doesn't. I was about to say, does Val have the bug where, like, I know it used to be a bug where a scout will die and will permanently give you vision of an area. Val now walking forward on this fire base, which has more power than I think Skouby would like to lose. It's 1,500 power generation he's going to lose for, well, practically nothing. And Val gonna continue to push forward. He doesn't have advanced nano, I don't believe. I don't think it's a symbol for advanced nano. No, that is the symbol. The symbol just gets arrows. Is that really what it is? The difference between the symbols is 2 arrows are yellow versus all of the arrows are yellow. That is not very significant when you think of other upgrades getting an upgrade. Like, second tier of upgrades. We still have the Eternal Guard! The ill shivers of protection over here in this northern passageway. And, seems as though neither side able to break through. Gonna have to see if the chickens will be able to, but Val finishing his chicken first, of course having the higher economy, but Skouby's gonna finish this chicken before Val's even gets close to it. So, I don't know. Who has the larger ground force? Skouby, I would assume, since he's not building any air. 36 Authams, a chicken, and some Ilshivas. Versus 22 Authams, some Ilshivas, and 2 chickens. One of those chickens isn't done. Some shields and such. So Skouby, theoretically, like, has the better army, especially since most of his army is over here on the eastern side. He should just be able to take on this chicken and not really care a lot, and he's already going to be starting his next chicken. His economy now over 300 mark, but just seemingly lagging behind Val's. A Awasa on the way. Is this affordable? Wow, he is just not caring. He can afford whatever he wants. Did he stop building the second chicken? That's a question. If so, where is the second chicken? Oh, here's the second chicken. He stopped building it. So Scoob's gonna be walking forward with his chicken and a force that is larger than Val, but Val has the ever so important Rambo comm, which is gonna add 50,000 health of pure pain for Skouby. Along with these shield generators, I do think that both of the chickens die here, but wow, the chicken for Skouby going down almost instantaneously is getting murdered outright. Skouby should still push forward here, I would think. You can't just fall back, the chicken will chase you down. The chicken has a higher range than all of your units. Oh my word, the Ion Storm doing massive damage to Val's comm. And now gonna do some massive damage to the chicken. Oh my, almost killed the chicken that was at like half health. Oh, that's gonna be unfortunate for Val. That chicken's on death's doorstep now. It does have a rank of veterancy, so I guess it might recover enough HP where it's not that point, but it'll take a long time. And second chicken halfway done for Scoobs. The Awasa halfway done for Val, and it's starting to feel like we're gonna get to some kind of finality in this match. On the northern side over here of Skouby's base, there's an attack coming up from Val. These artillery have proven invaluable, just pumping out damage. It's not fast, but it does slowly whittle down these T3 forces and does cause issue. There's some Authams underneath a shield generator over here to just try and stop any kind of incursions from happening, but with these experimentals coming onto the field, it's starting to feel like we're reaching the end of the rope for both these players. One of them will bend, one of them will break. And we'll find out who does what, as the Authams for Val getting a bit scared and running away after starting to win the fight. Seems a bit strange. You gotta start committing. Like, I know it's scary, but I just commit to things, man. Being non-committal is just like another weird thing you can do, but like, why not just commit to things? Like, why be scared of losing all your units? You've done it like 5 times each of you, and it hasn't affected the game. When you finally do commit, you commit to a bad fight. Fights that look good, you run away from. I don't get these players. Maybe I'm just wrong, and maybe they're making way better decisions than me, but it does definitely feel like with my omnipotence that some of these fights that these players are backing down from, they're backing down after they're in an advantageous position. Not like, you're not backing down before the fight starts. You like, throw out your fucking left hook and you knock a tooth out, and then you're like, oh my god, he's gonna beat the shit out of me, and you run away. Like, am I crazy, or is that not what's happening? The Iwasa is nearing completion. The Iwasa is a big question mark. Can it do anything? Also, T3 air achieved. Decides for some reason to build ASF, even though his opponent still hasn't discovered that flying units exist. Fun fact, they do. Fun fact, they're pretty good. And you need them at 45 minutes. Either that or you need a lot of investment in anti-air. And I don't think he has enough of either. The chicken for Valplasma goes down, and the units of Skouby push forward. Valplasma's calm, runs away from the opposing chicken. And kaboom goes the weasel as the Iwasa takes out a huge chunk of the army for Skouby. The Iwasa is going to come back around and give a second helping to this Yathoda. But no, it's just going to keep going for the T3 units. The Yathoda possibly going to be able to walk itself into the main base. Right now, if you just walk this into the main base, you could kill both HQs. You could kill all the build power. Just keep walking. Just keep walking. Just keep walking. He's lost so many units here. He's dumped so much mass. He needs to get some damage done. And he wasn't able to walk into the base in time as this combination of Iwasa bombs and strat bombers was able to deal enough damage on top of the comm and all of the miscellaneous units around. Let's see if the Ion Storm can get these P-Gens, and if it does, will it be significant? If all 4 P-Gens go down, I think that puts Val into a power stall. Both of these players struggling with mass expenditure, and Val loses one of them. How much longer is this Plasma Storm gonna last? Ion Storm, that is, I mean, not Plasma. Two very different things. Doesn't last long enough to get the other 2 P-Gens, and probably chain reacts to kill the last one. And overall, that gives a lot of map control and does kill off some of the economy for Val, but Val's still ahead. And Val, with the Iwasa coming in, gonna go for the artillery battery that's caused him so much grief for so long. And that's gonna go down. The Iwasa seemingly unanswerable by Skouby. He's finished up another chicken. Bomb didn't drop there. That's going to be unfortunate. The Iwasa micro, not perfect, but honestly, Iwasa over here picking up 1 rank of veterancy is impressive as it is. That's going to be some dead stuff. And what happened to that bomb? Did that bomb just not detonate? Did it not drop a bomb? He's having struggles with dropping bombs right now, and it's going to start costing him. There's a lot of SAMs now being built up, and Val's going to lose a lot of his units. He's gonna lose his Iwasa, not a lot of his units. I mean, it is 1 big unit, so it feels like a lot when it dies, but is he gonna be able to get another bomb off? If he gets another bomb off, whoa, what the hell was that hover bomb? That's some black magic voodoo bullshit right there. That's like the bomb wasn't even in the direction the Iwasa was facing. He just kind of threw it out the back, like whenever you're about to get pulled over by the cops and you decide to throw the weed bag out, which never works. They find the weed bag. But that's what that bomb was, and it killed off three T3 mexes. I would be pissed off. That felt like a really suspect bomb, to be honest. But it seems as though it's going to be able to get out with the Iwasa. That's some impressive micro for a 600 rated player. And chicken now coming to the north side. I believe there's a chicken complete for Val. I'd be surprised if there wasn't. Yeah, there is. And the chicken going to continue to put some pressure down onto these units of Val, but the Iwasa going to kill off chickens, or going to kill off the Eternal Guard Ilshivas, which is quite funny. And Skouby is finishing up another chicken. His comm's not necessarily in the safest spot, considering he knows his opponent has both Strat Bombers and an Awasa. I mean, the safest spot would be underwater, but considering all of the water on the map is right here, probably not advisable. The Awasa comes in, gonna drop a bomb. I don't believe the Awasa does do friendly fire damage, I think, actually. I think we just saw that. But don't think that the Awasa is it's gonna take a while to kill the Athota, and the Athota is gonna continue to get ranks of vet as long as it kills off these forward Authams. So not too much to worry about for Skouby. But the opposing chicken coming in could be a big reason to worry. And this Awasa is gonna come in, drop a huge bomb. It's gonna get lightning tanked to death, but oh, that kills about 20 T3 units off, 20 to 30 T3 units off. The experimentals duking it out in close bod. Rock'em sock'em robots. Am I right? As the chickens run face first into each other. The chicken for Val gonna be in the Ion Storm of the dead chicken out from Skouby, and that's just gonna leave Skouby with the experimental advantage. He's killed the Awasa, he's killed the opposing chicken. Feels like he can just start walking in. There's another opposing chicken, but he has so much more in terms of ground forces. Seems like he should just be alright, honestly. There's some Strat Bombers coming out. Strat Bombers could cause issue. Almost all of the mobile anti-air is sitting too far back. Bring your mobile anti-air forward! Skouby, what are you doing? Come on, man! You're choking at the finish line! Oh, no. He's gonna fall back. The T3 mech is being rebuilt, and for the first time in a long time, Skouby is on equal footing economically. And he's still just pumping out chickens. Like nobody's business. His opponent is doing the same, but I feel like Skouby's investing way more into chickens than his opponent. And of course, still building a lot of T3 units is Skouby. Let's just see. Autham, Sniper Bot, Autham, Sniper Bot, Autham, Sniper Bot, Autham, Sniper Bot, Autham, Sniper Bot. Okay. Seems like Authams and Sniper Bots are his plan. He's given up on building T3 Mobile AA again, which is going to be unfortunate. He's getting a lot of Reclaim still. I mean, you go look at Reclaim, almost doubling his opponent, but overall mass generation, it's a far cry from earlier where he was just ahead in mass generation. Now he's behind by about 80 to 90,000 mass generated this game. Overall, let's go ahead and look at the kill to losses ratio. Skouby being a bit more efficient with his units, which is why he's still in this game. About 25% more efficient with each unit compared to his opponent. What about built to loss ratio? Wow, Skouby getting close to 1. Or kills to built ratio. Pretty close to 1. Go back to the score for a little bit. Val gonna need to re-expand, and he's already working on it. He's gonna be getting a lot of reclaim off of that alone. But Skouby has had to rebuild his mexes so many times and rebuild parts of his bases so many times that he has the reclaim advantage. And now he has the mass generation advantage, not by a much, not by a significant amount. His comm kind of going on a merry little adventure to nowhere. That could become very significant with 2 Strat Bombers on the field and more to come. Still building ASF for some reason. Would like to point out, still has a factory building ASF just in case, I guess. Multiple chickens still being produced. Skouby still trying to drive the point home that chickens are the best meat to eat, and he's gonna shove it down the throat of Val and see how it works. One thing I don't understand is why his chicken is always so far away from his T3 force. Like, just keep your T3 force with the chicken. It works better that way. 2 chickens out over here for Val, and for anybody who understands how math generally works, wow, whiffing all of the plasma balls, we'll realize that 2 chickens beat 1 chicken. I think Skouby needs to bank up his chickens. He keeps going in one at a time. And he's fighting against the home field advantage. Does the Ion Storm mess with reclaim values? Does it hurt Rex? No, not really. And yeah, both these players kind of just sitting around. There's some strat bombers in the way. We're going to speed it up a little bit. Not plus 10 though. Plus 3 for a little bit. And seems as though Val wants to push forward with his units. Does Val know where the comm is? He knows there's a unit there. He doesn't know it's the comm. I feel like if he knew that was the comm, he'd just send his strat bombers in. There's some mobile anti-air that could stop the strat bombers, but still seems so risky. And Skouby getting a run by with Autumn's gonna be able to kill off possibly some mass extractors. And his own chicken coming in, gonna be walking up behind the opposing chickens. I don't think this goes well though. I think that this chicken dies, and yeah, he's like, maybe he kills both enemy chickens with the Ion Storm. It's a possibility. Oh, he gets both of them! Double kill with the Ion Storm! Oh my word, Ion Storm for days! Just look at it. Beautiful. It's beautiful to see dead Seraphim units. They do, admittedly, look very nice. Support Commander, Rambo preset over here on the south side, gonna be fighting against Chicken. Pretty sure the Support Commander dies. I thought that was the ACU for a second. I was like, oh, that ACU is just dead. No, it is in fact not. And multiple chickens in production at the same time. And if Skouby just waits a little bit, and please move your comm. Oh, Skouby, you're playing with fire by just having your comm there. He sends 1 scouting wave. He has 9 strat bombers. He has so many strat bombers that even if you dodge, you die. Wait, did he find the comm? No, he's just using them for base defense. But it's looking sketchy. Why is his comm over here? Like, I'm just genuinely curious why his comm is here. I get it. It's a stressful game. He has a lot of units. This was probably a misclick, but still, his comm is kind of just out in the middle of nowhere. And now he's moving all of his units away from his comm. Skouby's built another experimental. He has 3 chickens on this eastern side. He has the force to win this game, but now I'm just worried he's gonna get sniped, and Val sends out the scouts. Oh, there's no way. He sends out the scouts, he sees the comm, and Skouby notices where his comm is. He just starts moving it, but the snipe is coming in. Those are just flak. Those are nothing. There's multiple chickens on the other side. He's gonna get sniped, and that's the end of Skouby, and we don't get to see the dramatic fight between the chickens and the sniper bots. No! With that, I will bid you a good day and leave you with this beautiful image of mass chicken violence. Thank you all for watching. You've been beautiful. And I'll see ya in the next one. Thank you to my oh, wait, 1 second. I'm sorry, I'm zoning out for some reason. Thank you to my Patreons. You all have been beautiful. Like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't. Subscribe if you want to see more, and if you aren't subscribed to the channel yet. And of course, consider joining the channel membership with Patreon. It helps me out oodles and oodles, if you want me to use old school terms. And stay safe. You're beautiful. Bye-bye!